Assalamualaikum and good greetings. This will be an academic related vlog where in this kind of vlog I normally go about things that I want to reflect upon or want to analyze, etc. With regard to aspects that I can continue further improving myself with related to my academic responsibilities. Right, for this one, this is a report by the Engineering Students Society, where it is an analysis of survey on RTL Experience for KUE students end of semester 1 2020-2021. Alright, so we'll just go through the report and see what I can pick up in terms of further consideration moving forwards, because it seems that the RTL mode will be with us still in the near future. Alright, so let's move on. Alright, so this is a report on students' feedback on remote teaching learning RTL survey. So they basically did a survey to the engineering students, and this is the report and the analysis. Right, analysis of survey on RTL experience for KUE students semester 1 2020-2021. Summary: this survey was initiated by Kulliyyah of Engineering and Engineering Students Society engineers. 271 responses received. So 271, how many percent was that? Because we have a lot of students more, right? Within 4 days. Alright, RTL experience. How would you rate your RTL experience for this semester? So I'm assuming 5 is the best, 1 is the worst. So mostly in the middle. Some says 5% says very good, like 7% says very bad, I think. Students that face any issues. Are you facing any issues during RTL session? So around 60% says they have some issues, more than half. Okay, the problem of learning method. Generally, what is the learning method used for the majority of your classes? Of course, this is for their overall experiences, right? So students that take a lot of credit hours, I'm not sure how they will be affected in this kind of survey, because some courses might affect them in a certain way, while some other course might affect them in the other direction, right? But anyway, okay, around 10% says the class is fully synchronous, meaning that everything is real-time online classes, right? So that is interesting, meaning that for that to happen, all of their courses is conducted in that way. And the majority say half synchronous and half asynchronous. I'm not sure how many percent this is in orange, which is fully asynchronous. I'm interested to know what is the response for my student if they are only talking about my course, because my course is for the most part asynchronous, because the lecture video, the tutorial video is there online, so they can watch it at their own time. But we have the real-time online tutorial session where I am on standby for the 2 hours each week. Well, for 4 hours each week for each section, basically. But the experience from the student's perspective, I'm interested to know that, because it is up to them to go and ask questions if they have any. Yeah, I'm always there for the 2 hours, but not many students that actually come with question to discuss. So what will be the perception of the student? Because if they do not enter and ask question, would they classify my class to be fully asynchronous then? Because their learning process is mainly from the recorded video, while I'm still on standby there if they have any question, right? So I'm interested to know what the perception of them would be. So these are some comments, I think. Synchronous classes. There are students having internet connection problems and lagging problems which interfere with the teaching and learning process of the synchronous class session. Okay, this is the type of comment that I have, even though it's not the majority, but because there are still some of them having these issues, which is the main reason why I have the main part of my teaching and learning process to be asynchronous, so that for all students, none will be left behind due to that, right? Because if the main component that they have to understand from is synchronous, and they already have this kind of internet problem, they will be left behind, right? So I do not want that. Hence, I put meaning the main component will be the recorded video, where everyone can watch at their own time, and then the data requirement is not that high, should be, right? But I still have that option where I'm there for live question and answer discussion, if they want to take advantage of that, right? But of course, for some students, when they are not forced to be in that live session, because I do not force, there's no purpose for them to just sit there if they do not have any question, right? Might as well they do practices, go through the tutorial, etc. Anyway, back to the report. Some lecturers do not have proper equipment for online teaching. I'm not sure whether this comment is about the camera setting or what. There are students who experience all asynchronous classes and no synchronous classes. So this is interesting comment, because I wonder whether this kind of comment can come from my student, right? Because there's no synchronous class. There's actually synchronous tutorial session every single week, twice a week. But because it is not compulsory, I'm not sure whether then in their mind I'm not doing that. No recorded session given to the students. Okay, that's not. This one, even way before RTL, I have done recording so that no student can complain about if they have if they miss class for, I don't know, medical reason, etc. I still do not want to have where the circumstances where the student have any excuses not to know what we discuss in class. So I always record my class session even before the COVID, etc. Some students have problems with understanding the class because the lecturer voice was too low pitched. Okay, I think this is about audio quality. Difficult to read handwriting. Okay, but of course this is not about because if you comment about handwriting, I think this will be when online classes, offline classes, etc. the handwriting is the handwriting, right? Unless I'm assuming maybe in online class, if you write too small and the camera cannot capture it, so that may be a problem. The lecturer taught the class in a fast manner, which made it difficult. Okay. That is not really about online class as well, right? It's because it can happen offline, online, right? If the lecturer do not give any or do not entertain any question, right? For example, if the student do not understand something, they should raise their hand or make a comment that please repeat, or I don't understand that, or I do not catch that, or please slow down, whatever. And I think the problem would be if the lecturer do not entertain such question or comment. But if that opportunity is there, but it's the student just complain behind, right? Oh, why is teaching so fast? But never raise that point, the lecturer might not realize, right? Sometimes I do not realize I talk too fast, and then at the very end, after 2 hours, they say, why didn't you say so? Because it was never my intention to speak in a manner that you find it difficult to understand. My purpose is to make you understand. But if you keep silent, I would assume everything is okay, right? So just say something, I think. So that, I'm not sure why. Maybe it's in this country we think it is polite not to interrupt, even though at the expense of our own understanding, which is so bizarre, because we should know that the lecturer have the intention to make us understand. So he would really appreciate feedback and comment, right? At least for me, it is like that. Synchronous classes took longer than the contact hour provided. So meaning what? Meaning the online class becomes long. Asynchronous class, okay. The lecturer who only use video from YouTube for teaching, so students could not analyze the syllabus well. Okay, I'm assuming this means that they use video from other sources, so it might not really match with the syllabus that we have here, maybe. Lecture videos are hard to understand due to unclear handwriting of the lecturer. Okay, another thing. The duration of the videos is exceeding the learning hours for each subject in a week. All right. Now, I'm for this one, I'm wondering whether my students will comment on this as well, because if you add up all the hours of my videos, it would exceed, I think, it would exceed the contact hour, I think. I'm not sure whether it would exceed the learning, because if you see the course outline, there's the contact hour of the class time, basically, where we have direct teaching and learning process. But there are also expected hours that you spend on that subject every week, for revision, for preparation, etc. That meaning even if we have offline class, that time should be allocated, right? But I don't think many students are aware of that, so they always maybe perceive that the learning time is only the class, right? If they have that assumption, maybe they will see a problem with this. Now, but for my case, basically I would say that the lecture video becomes compulsory, but the tutorial video becomes optional, because in my tutorial video, the type of video that I do, I specify that we will cover this question, a number of questions. The question can be referred to first, and you can just straightway jump into any portion of the video that you feel will help you as a tutorial, right? Because if this question you do not need to cover, I think I understand this already, I've tried, you can just skip that, right? So it is in that format, the way that I do my tutorial videos. But if you watch throughout, it is actually exceeding the time, right? Especially in some chapter of the tutorial, it's actually become very long, because I tried to cover various different example as possible to help the student. But some student, I think in the past, also complain, why is it too long? Because for me it's bizarre. They complain because first, it's not compulsory to watch all, but second, I thought it would be appreciated if they have more type of question as an option for them to cover, because some students really need to cover to be given tutorial for different questions, right? In the normal tutorial offline before RTL, right, we only have fixed time, so I can only explain and discuss maybe 3 questions at most in that period of time, right? But I do not think that, because I think it will be helpful for the students to have more options to cover more tutorial, right? So I did more in that purpose, right? But then in terms of the video, it becomes long if you watch throughout, and then the student complains. So should I then limit it? Then I just show you 2 questions and then you will be happy, even though it will not be helpful for you to understand other type of questions. So I'm not sure what some students want actually. Maybe it's communication, maybe they do not know what I'm trying to do. But anyway, lecturer assign lecture videos outside of class time. Interesting. Okay, I'm not sure if my students also have some comment like this, because I adopt a flipped classroom approach, and with flipped classroom, obviously you have to cover the lecture before the class time, because in the class time we will already focus on tutorial solving problems. So if they actually do not want flipped classroom, maybe they will make that comment, right? Because I do not want to prepare before class time, so that's not fair to me. I do not know. We will see the comments from my students in the next video, inshallah, where we'll cover the comment from the students specifically for each section, and see whether they have this kind of comment, if they make that comment, right? Some lecturers use their past semester lecture video and did not improve their recorded video in terms of the sound and their writing. Interesting as well. Because for me as well, my lecture video is just you refer back to, because it didn't change, right? Because the content is the same. What I want to deliver is as well the same. But maybe, of course, when I look back, there are some things that I can improve in terms of production value, basically, right? Because in the first videos that series of videos that I put on in terms of my lecture, I didn't expect it to be used again and again. And then suddenly you have online, and then I just use that. So maybe that can be improved, but because the amount of time spent on each video is a lot, and the previous video, meaning the first semester that I record, I think 3 semesters back, I spent a lot of time to record the lecture. The previous semester, I spent a lot of time to record the tutorial, so I do not have time to even record the lecture if I want to, right? So that's my story. Anyway, okay, the problem with final examination method, staggered method. Students lose a lot of marks while they may able to answer the question at another time. Okay, that's the issue with staggered method, because the time management is taken out of the student's hand, right? Time management meaning time allocation for each question. Of course, there are many issues if we want to discuss about the assessment, because what is the intent, number one, but how to deal with certain things that actually happen. And one of these is related to this, right? Cheating issues, where to curb cheating, the lecturer are forced to take a certain measure or approach which is not normally, how to say, be appreciated by most of the students, right? But that's the issue, how to balance that, because if we do not do that, then many students will cheat or able to cheat, or the opportunity of cheating will be increased exponentially. But if you took that measure, then some students will find it difficult due to certain internet connection, etc. It's always a hard topic to discuss. Anyway, cheating issues, not necessarily to open the camera, lagging issues and consuming a lot of data. It gives student anxiety and disturb their concentration. Okay, so because I think some lecturer make it compulsory for them to open the camera so that they can see that student are doing on their own, right? Lecturer can use different values for each question to prevent student from cheating. That is actually one of the way we can do it. But if you teach, meaning if I have to examine, because for the exam I have to examine like around 600 students in the previous exam. So if you want to make a question where it is, meaning the values, etc., is randomized, you know, the process of then how to evaluate and marking and know which question belongs to which will be quite a challenge. If the class is small, I think it's quite easy to just have different value for all. Some students cheat among themselves even though it is closed book examination, right? So that's the thing, and it's harder to curb in the current circumstances of RTL. Open book test, the question were really hard. No question can be found in the textbook. Lecturer give tough questions that are not being taught in class. Okay, obviously when we have open textbook, right, even online or offline, the question tend to be more difficult, because you have the ability to refer to the book, right? That's normally the case. No answer can be found in the textbook. What does that mean? Because if you because normally when it is open textbook, the question will be the exact question will be something that is not in the textbook, right? That is expected. Otherwise, why would, if you can just find where is the answer in the textbook, then they will not be doing open textbook, right? I'm not sure what this means. Lecturer give tough questions that are not being taught in class, because if the concept itself is not being taught, then that's totally not fair. But if the exact question is not in the textbook, but the question can still be answered if you understand the concept and theory in the textbook, then that's normal, right? What else is there? The best method to cater for problems. Okay, so we'll just go through this. If there is any improvement stated here that I can take. Make sure the total duration of lecture video equal to the duration of the class hour. Lecturers are also advised to upload video in parts, meaning that small chunks. Interesting. But you can actually watch it bit by bit, right? Even though if the video is long, you can manage it that way as well, right? I think lecturer should not just give YouTube video and hope the student to understand the topic by watching video. Lecturer should at least explain regarding the topic in simple words. I'm not sure whether this is a dichotomy or mutually exclusive, because when the comments say the lecturer should explain regarding the topics in simple words, easier for the student to understand, that can be inside the video, right? I'm not sure how just using YouTube video is contradictory with explaining in a simple term. Okay, this is interesting. If the lecturer want to do most asynchronous class, do provide quizzes for every 1 or 2 topics to ensure the students are actually following the lecturers and motivates the student to study. If this is a comment from the student, this is quite interesting, because for my section, I do quiz for every topic that I cover, right? The implication of that is basically you have quiz every single class, because we cover 1 topic in each class, right? Basically, for the most part. So we will see what my student comment on that, whether there are some complaint or they are satisfied with that approach. And we will do that in the next video, inshallah. We will cover the student feedback for my sections. For examination, it could be conducted normally. If the lecturers want to ensure no cheating occurs during the examination, lecturer might as well create questions where it could not be researched and not be searched, or questions which require effective application of knowledge learned, like open-ended questions. That is quite interesting, because maybe this comes from different student than before, right? Because those who are commenting that the question is not in the textbook, but this is because when you have open-ended question, it is definitely not in the textbook normally. But of course, before this, okay, that's the thing about this cheating case, because before this, the issue like this, if you can find it somewhere, the exact question can be found somewhere, then cheating becomes possible, right? Because they can search, they can just find the answer that they need, and then they just copy. But now, especially when the exam is not staggered, when they have 3 hours full to do whatever they want, there are things that enable them to basically just post the exam question somewhere, and someone else will answer for them, and then they'll just copy, right? So that actually happened a lot, unfortunately, in the semester just ended. So when we say it cannot be searched, because because in the exam I do create all the question, meaning it's brand new question, but just within minutes or 10 minutes or 30 minutes, because they exactly submit that exact question somewhere for other people out there to answer for them, then it becomes meaningless, right? Because you do not need to search anymore. It's just there's those kind of services are now available, especially when you have a lot of time, which is why, looking back at that, maybe staggered becomes the only possible solution, because if you have staggered, the time of exact question is just that, then the opportunity to actually do that becomes less, because if you have to wait until that person to finish and give it back to you, it's maybe too late already, right? But when you have 3 hours, yeah, so it becomes because this can avoid cheating in the previous case, because normally in normal circumstances students still cheat when yeah, I do not want to talk in length into that, but they still manage to find something and blah blah blah, right? Anyway, all right, so I think that's all. I think this video is already too long already. So that's basically the analysis on RTL Experience from the Kulliyyah of Engineering students. We did pick up some points, but yeah, I'm hoping to get something that really, if there is something that really, how to say, significant for me to alter something about my approach, right? But generally, based on most of the comments, I think, generally speaking, the approach that I have been taking is okay. Is maybe in the of the implementation part, maybe of course not maybe, there's for sure there's certain room for improvement. But yeah, okay, some of the things that I might need to relook at and see how my students comment on them, as about the, what was that, the length of the video, perhaps updating the video, maybe. Some comment about giving too little time about the quiz, of course. Anyway, I think that's all for today. I do not want to make this video any more lengthy. It's too long already, I think. But this is primarily for me, because it's me that want to improve myself. So it's just that I record this process in case anyone, although I do not expect anyone, but in case anyone is interested in this kind of reflection. Anyway, thank you for watching, if there's anyone watching still, and see you next time.